My next two guests are proponents of getting that word out to help people understand money. Erin Gibbs, Mitch Rochelle. Erin, let me get to you first. Florida is obviously going to require this. There are others that have toyed with the idea of not making graduation contingent on this, but offering it as something that kids could learn from. I don't think it's a bad idea, but I guess it's a problem and a tough sell for kids who think it's boring. What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think it's wonderful. I think that we forget that young people are faced with loan applications and increasing debt very early on. In fact, 1/3 of all college students end up with student loans. The average is $40,000 by the time you graduate. So I think it should be taught in a high school and stress that you are going, whether it's simply balancing a checkbook or more specifically loan applications, whether it's your auto, your credit card, student loans, and eventually your mortgage. This is something that you have to understand at an increasingly early age.
You know, Mitch, I tell my kids right off the bat, your mother and I are keeping everything. There'll be nothing for you. Nothing. You're on your own. That gets a quiet response, and then they kind of move on. But all kidding aside, there is very little knowledge about basic concepts, like you can't spend more money than you're taking in and all of that. But where does this go? It's always well-intended. These ideas have cropped up before, but it oftentimes just fizzles out. Why?
Well, Neil, and I think you may be aware, I've spent the better part of my career in my previous firm, PwC, leading an effort to teach financial literacy across the United States. So I'm well versed in the topic. Here's the biggest challenge. The teachers themselves are uncomfortable with their own financial literacy, so they don't feel comfortable teaching the subject matter. And the tools just aren't there. There are no textbooks. There are no tools for teachers to teach financial literacy. But the one thing I learned after thousands of hours of volunteering myself in New York City public schools is that the most basic concept of financial literacy is understanding the difference between need and want. And at the end of the day, if the program in my home state of Florida here accomplishes anything, and kids graduating from high school understand the notion that my kids probably don't understand themselves, the difference between need and want, then I think they're set up with a life skill that'll do them well throughout their career and their life ahead.
Erin, I'm just wondering why this isn't a requirement in Congress. I left you speechless, didn't I?
Okay.
All right, guys, thank you. Thank you both very, very much. It's not a bad idea, though. We're exploring this, but I do think it's important with basic math to be appreciated and understood. So for you kids who love numbers and get in school and really like math and all, there's nothing wrong with just pursuing that and understanding the money that comes in, the money that goes out, in small ways in your own lives, in your parents' lives, and all the way up to Congress in our whole country's lives. Trillions upon trillions of dollars that have been added to our debt because people either failed to grasp that concept or knew and ignored it just the same.